You're watching Look East from the BBC. Coming up, the rusty heirloom restored to its family.
Now, several years ago, the economy was booming and things were looking up, which is why Stena Line ordered two £200 million super ferries for Harwich. But then the recession hit, and Stena has now admitted the ferries are far too big.
The first ferry is due to enter service in May, carrying passengers and freight between the Essex port and the Hook of Holland. Our business correspondent Richard Bond travelled to the German shipyard where the vessels are being finished.
On the Baltic coast of northern Germany lies the pretty town of Wismar, home to a shipyard where two rather big ships are taking shape. The Stena Hollandica is the largest ferry of its kind in the world. From May it will carry passengers and freight between Harwich and Holland. And this is the equally big Stena Britannica, due in service on the same route later this year.
We're working here 3.5 years with those two vessels. We have had 400 to 800 own employees working on it, and for the very moment we are working round the clock 7 days a week to be finished for delivery as scheduled end of April.
Now, clearly ships like this can't be conjured up overnight. They take years to design and build. So the ferry company Stena thought long and hard before ordering new vessels 4 years ago.
The world was different in 2006. The market was growing. Demand for ships was very high, and we decided to order two super ferries for €400 million.
The trouble is, trade has collapsed, and the two ferries, each the length of nearly 3 football pitches, are far too big for the current market.
Well, at the moment you can say we don't need this capacity, but of course we can't turn back. We have ordered the vessels and we have to buy the bullet.
It's a disaster, isn't it?
It's not a disaster. I mean, you can also say we are ready for the future. They are about 50% too big today on the freight side, not on the passenger side. Passenger side, we see a growth still, so that's perfect. But it's the freight side which is a problem. But at this particular moment, spring is in the air and we see a slight increase in freight already now.
The Harwich ferry hasn't enjoyed the best of luck. 3 years ago, Stena withdrew its fast ferry service because of mounting losses, replacing it with slower vessels. Now, at least in the short term, it seems to have got its timing badly wrong with the new super ferries. Who pays the ferryman? Well, Stena's keeping its fingers crossed for a huge trade boom. Richard Bond, BBC Look East, Wismar.
Now, when Barry Lewis paid £50 for a pair of rusty old mopeds, he wasn't sure what he'd got for his money, but he was in for a bit of a surprise.
Once he got the mopeds home, Barry, who's from Suffolk, thought one of them was strangely familiar. And when he rummaged through some old family photographs, he finally realised why. Kevin Birch has been to meet him.
As you can probably see, Barry Lewis has a thing about mopeds. But there's one machine which is just a little bit special. It had stood in someone's garden for 25 years, and Barry spent more than £1,000 restoring it to its former glory, and with good reason. He didn't know it when he bought it, but this Mobilette V50 belonged to his late father, Fred Lewis.
The number rang a bell. I don't know, that was something in the back of the mind said, there's something about that number. I dug out my old photos, especially my father's little book he had with all the pictures of his garden and stuff in, and there's him sitting on it. I couldn't believe it.
It was in a sorry state when he got it, rusty, on the point of being scrapped, but now it's been re-chromed and repainted, ready for the road.
Like going back to the late 60s, early 70s, like going back 30 years.
When you look at the picture of your dad sitting astride the moped and you see it now, what do you think you'd make of really the love you've given it?
I would love, like I say, it never happened, but I would love for him to just to see it now, and just to say, what would he think, Yeah, that was, yeah, I think he'd be really proud.
Quite emotional for you.
It is, yeah.
Means a lot.
Yeah.
He has no plans to sell the moped he says is priceless and is destined to be handed on to his children. Kevin Birch, BBC Look East in Suffolk.
Extraordinary
It's incredible, isn't it, to actually find out you've got your old dad's, moped when you buy them.
What a
Incredible.
coincidence.
Hello, Phil. What's the weather looking like this weekend?
Didn't it look shiny as well?
It did, yeah. In that sun, that's what it was.
I was going to say, it looked like high summer,
Yeah.
didn't it? Beautiful weather.